Now this is the problem. Oh,
Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour.
Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour. This is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G, and Cortina Peters is, oh, look, y'all, she's working on her dissertation. And then we have a guest co-host in her place. Yes, my fellow dear sister, friend, and journalist, media, actress, all kind of things, Tammy Reese. And then we also have Louisa. So because our co-host does so much, I'm going to let her introduce herself. So, and before we get to our drink for today from Louisa, Tammy, introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Penn, for having me here. Herspiration Happy Hour. I am Dr. Penn's biggest fan. I claimed it. That's what I am. But I'm an actress, a writer, director, journalist, publicist. I love everything in entertainment and media. My business brand is called Visionary Minds, Public Relations and Media. My personal brand is Tammy Reese Media, and it's an honor to be here. It's always an honor to be in your presence, Dr. Pam. Thank you.
Oh, Louisa, what are we sipping on today?
Today, we are sipping on, oh my gosh, I forgot to write the name of the cocktail, but it's a good cocktail.
Go here for it.
Look, it was one of these days. I'm going to come back with the name. But the cocktail, you need all the measurements for all of this is 0.5 ounces of lime juice, simple syrup, Midori, triple sec, gin, vodka, white rum, and tequila blanco. So you combine all these ingredients into a shaker and fill it with ice and give it about 15 to 20 hard shakes. And you get a cocktail glass and add fresh ice, stream it over the ice, and garnish with a lime wedge and a maraschino cherry.
And I'm trying to think of what the name of that even would be.
Yeah, give me a second because I don't know why I didn't write that down.
No, look at here. It's okay. I half the time right now. It took me a lot to remember today was Wednesday. Because I am 6 hours ahead. Look, y'all, I am podcasting all the way from Botswana. I know, Kasane, Botswana, South Africa. And let me tell you, this has been, I've gone live a few times. I've been posting. It's just been such an experience. But today was an experience I was not prepared for at all, period. Not at all.
I don't think you would be. But I have the name, you guys. It's actually called Tokyo Tea or Tokyo Iced Tea.
Tokyo Iced Tea.
Oh. Tokyo Tea. Okay. I'm over here because
I'm drinking iced tea, but it ain't Tokyo. Tokyo sound nice.
It's Tammy Iced Tea.
Tammy Iced Tea.
So I am at least drinking decaf coffee because I know I need to go to sleep. It's like it's 1:03 in the morning my time. So yeah,
oh my God.
I'm 6 hours ahead. But I wanna talk about just the experience here really quick about my day. So this is not my first time in Africa. I've been to on the continent quite a few times. I've been to a couple of different countries. And I've been on a couple of safaris. This today, y'all, if you follow me on Instagram, you have to go to IAMDRPGURLEY, just like you see it right here. If you are listening, IAMDRPGURLEY, you can go back and look at my lives that I've done. And in my safari, I was showing elephants and giraffes. Well, no, I don't think I showed giraffes. Then I'm gonna have to remember what I was over there because I was just live, and I saw something that shook me to the core, and I don't even know how to act because it was gruesome but not gruesome, calm but it was too calm, but I got to see what most people would see on National Geographic. So I'm going to see if I can share this video that I took today. It's about 1:04. I can try to zip through it, but y'all, this is crazy.
Let us see all this
I
wonderful,
gotta see it. I definitely gotta
lovely
see it.
nature.
I'm glad you're drinking. You might want to grab a drink. So let me show you this. Okay, so.
They did flank. Where's the baby?
In the middle.
Okay, so let me preface this. This is unedited. So you're going to hear me talking and you're going to hear a bunch of different things. So let me just go back to say, I listened. I'm like, oh, no, let me just say that this is raw. This is exactly what transpired.
They did flank. Where's the baby?
In the middle.
Okay.
It's two of them.
Wow.
He got them. Let's target this.
Oh my God. Oh my God. He got in the way. Oh my God. Oh, they baby.
Yeah, that's the baby. They're good, the baby.
They got the baby. Oh my God.
I told you that they target the smallest one.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah, that is easier to catch.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm speechless. Oh my gosh, I'm so speechless because it's like no one came back to help the baby. Like,
Oh no,
they was gone. Okay.
And the video is a lot longer than that. I cropped it for this. The whole time, if you recognize, did you see the one paw from the lioness? The one paw, she placed one paw on the baby as if it's just like just stop.
Like it's over. Ain't no reason to even fight this.
And that same one kept her hand there the whole time. The other one was making sure that they killed it. But even though it wasn't like they shredded it, it was just like they grabbed it by the jugular and was, you know, and this took place. I have filming way after this was going on. So this whole thing from beginning to end is a lot longer than what I actually showed. And I'm just in awe. Like the whole video, I think is like almost 4 minutes long, but we were standing long before I was actually on live, got off live, and then was recording.
I can't imagine you seeing that in person because I'm like, my stomach turned just watching that video. Like, poor thing. Like, can you just imagine? Like, oh my gosh, like animals, they're not people, but they're still like living, breathing mammals with feelings and lives and family, you know? That's, oh my Lord.
Yeah. And then when I was talking earlier, so you can see them literally all going one way, and they had stopped literally coming out of the water. They stopped, and it was like slow. And then you saw them flank, which means everybody's back was turned to make sure that nobody else nothing else was coming to attack. So there was somebody on the left side, the right side, the front and the back. And then literally as soon as the dominant one, I guess, who was in the front turned, they weren't turned good. That's when they actually attacked. So it was such a waiting game. And what I found out was that very rare do people have an opportunity to see that on a safari.
Oh yeah, because they're usually watching to make sure they're not being attacked. But they were already on the hunt.
No, you know what? We saw her sleep. We rode by her. There was nothing
when
we first. Oh yes, ma'am. I posted something, I think, on Instagram of her sleeping. There was two males, one female that we thought ended up being two females. That's the one who did the kill. But there was two males who were asleep, which was odd because they were sleeping on their backs. Lions were sleeping on their backs. It was two. And then there was a female. yeah, there was a female. Well, there was a female under the tree, and we only saw one. It was great. So we was like, oh, okay. So I only saw the movement of one, and it ended up being two that came out. So people was like, oh, it's two of them because we only saw. But outside of that incident, because I had my fill after that, I didn't care how many baboons, raccoons, whatever I saw. Not raccoons, literally, but I mean, we saw giraffes, elephants, because they have 4 of the big 5, just 4. Rhinos are almost extinct, so you won't see those other than in zoos because poachers. So it was yeah. So although normally, y'all, I know we do WCWs, but I just had to share that experience because I had never in my life thought that I would see anything like that at all.
Well, it's so funny that you brought up chimpanzees and animals because actually my WCW had something to do with that. So let me tell you,
Well, go
let me
ahead,
just tell you
boo.
real quick. She's her name's Jane Goodall. She was an English primatologist. And so she was famous for being the first person to observe chimpanzees creating and using tools, which is a trait that was thought to be distinctly only for humans. And so that discovery of hers changed the way that we understood both animals and ourselves. And so that was really cool. Her name is Jane Goodall, Goodal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody can see, but that's one of them.
And they're so beautiful, but so vicious.
But you know what?
Like humans.
Oddly, she wasn't even vicious. Or they weren't. They hunted the prey and they tracked it down. But honestly, in my eyes, they were more gentle than I expected. I don't know why I expected them to rip him to shreds. That didn't happen.
Got you. But you see more of what happened than what we saw.
Well, if you watch National Geographic, they really don't do that. What they do is they just go straight for the neck. And so they usually don't rip it apart until they're getting ready to eat.
Exactly.
And it's crazy because us as humans,
the male eat first.
We eat animals, obviously.
Yeah, their lazy asses eat first.
We cook them, but they don't need to cook. They gonna eat them animals raw. They gonna do what they gotta do. They get their business done.
Yeah, but the men eat first, so we would have never seen that anyway. But just the fact that the women, the women are the hunters and the killers, and then the men eat. Isn't that ironic? But I'm not gonna go there.
But it's like that. It's like that because they actually do the protecting, and they actually fight. They are the first to lose their lives. So it's like
really, I saw them on their back sleeping.
Yeah, no, they do. Oh, they do. They don't do anything unless they have to, which is why the lionesses do the raising, they do the hunting, they do all of that. Yeah. But if they don't,
knocked out.
They all do, that's what they do.
I know. But you know what? So we have our guest here today, and I don't want to, I see her down here. She's been here, but so I don't want to talk about this whole experience because, trust me, we have time to talk about that. But also just know that, y'all, if I get cut off, it's because my internet here is a little shoddy and shady. So, but I'll come back on as soon as I can. But in the interim, so I have 2 people here that can make sure that everything is good. Yes. So we have here author who's also an RN. She's an author for children's books, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself. We have Erica Basora. How are you today?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Yes, my name is Erica Basora, and I am an RN. I actually work in the operating room. First, I was a teacher. I used to teach 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then about 7 years ago, went into the operating room as a resident and was an RN this whole entire time. So just really excited to be here and get to share with y'all.
Oh, all right. So what was the transition from RN? And even though you're still an RN, there's still that transition that happens when you say, I think I want to be a children's book author. Not just any author, but a children's book author.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I absolutely loved reading when I was younger. We actually had a public library across the street that I walked to in New York, and books were like my escape. And so I've always wanted to be a children's author. Never ever thought that I would be able to. I started trying when my daughter was first born about 7 years ago, and had some agents looking at it and never heard back from them. And then during COVID, had the chance to learn how to self-publish and was able to self-publish some of my books. And really, I've always loved writing. And one of my first books actually is about my mom's. And so my girls have always had books surrounding them. Actually, my daughters read. Their reading level is like way above where it needs to be because of it. So they've always had books all around them. But one thing was I could never find books that reflected who they were and looked like them, with characters that look like them, and also books that had biblical principles. So those two areas I saw were missing, and wanted to write books about those two topics and incorporate characters that my girls could relate to.
Okay. So what was it like after you wrote your first book, children's book? Like, trust me, I know there's a process, because writing is one thing, illustration is another. So what was the thing that sparked to say, here's what I'm going to write about?
So during the pandemic, I knew that everybody had a lot of fear. And I don't know if you can think back to that moment 2 years ago when everybody was home and our kids weren't able to go to school. And as an operating room nurse, I started to see the things that were happening behind the red line, which is where everybody comes across before they have surgery, was actually coming to the public. And a lot of the knowledge that was coming out wasn't totally factual. And the one thing that could help keep our kids safe from the coronavirus or any virus is washing their hands. And so that's how I came up with one of my first books that I self-published, was Little Miss Wash Your Hands. And so this is it right here. And it really was to keep kids safe from what was going on during the pandemic, so that they wouldn't be scared, and to help parents learn about this one thing that they could do to help veer off viruses and sickness, and it's to wash our hands. And so it's a real cool little book that has a song that goes along with it. And little Miss washes her hands. She loves to do handstands. And I also did a boy version because I feel like boys are left out. And so I wanted to do a boy version. This one is Little Man Wash Your Hands. And that's really how I came up with my first book, was just the pandemic, trying to find a way to ease fears of kids and their parents, and even for myself with my own girls, making sure that we have that knowledge to keep us safe. Mm-hmm.
You're muted, Pam.
Thank you. So look at here.
You're welcome.
So during the I know you can see my mouth moving, but I'm not saying anything. So during the pandemic, when you decided about hand washing, did you feel like that was going to be it? Or did you feel like, let me just continue to expand, and because there's a need?
I wanted to expand because I knew there was a need. I used to also be a media specialist. So when I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I was a media specialist. So I knew that the need for multicultural books with multicultural characters as well. So that's why I just continued writing. And it's because I had the time. I mean, I was still going to work. I was one of the people that couldn't stay home. But because I had the time and learned this skill, I just kept it going. And so I wrote My Hero Wears a Mask, so that kids wouldn't be scared about how, putting on a mask, and all the different types of heroes that wear masks. I know that it's controversial. Some people want to wear masks, some people don't. But in the operating room, we always have to wear masks to keep our patients safe and ourselves. And firefighters have to wear masks. So that's where that book came about. I also learned how to write journals, and writing a journal just helped me to heal. My first journal was a tribute to my loved one. So this is for someone who loses someone in their life, and just how to start healing through writing and just answering a question each day about that person's life and just remembering them and celebrating them. So it helps me in so many different ways to just keep writing and to keep publishing. I have 7 children's books, 2 journals. I created my own self-publishing agency now too, to help others. And I love it. It's something, I'm a creative. I love nursing and I love the operating room, but I'm also have this creative juice that I need to release. And I feel like the world needs to hear our stories, everyone's story, and that everyone has something that they can even write about that you can relate to. And for me, that's really what keeps me going. I think just having these ideas and seeing them come to life and having kids enjoy them, and even adults when it comes to the journals.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Erica, you are so inspirational. I'm listening. You are so beautiful, so talented, so creative. And what you do makes an impact and has true influence. There's so many questions I want to ask you. I guess I'll start with being in the medical field. During the pandemic, how was it for you? And what was the motivation to stay with it when so many people could not handle it anymore?
Really, it was. So I work in the operating room, and it was shut down for about a month. So we had no surgeries. And in that point in time, I became a clinician. So I actually helped to teach other nurses. My residents were with me during that time. So really, there was a lot of fear around that. There was a lot of unknowns, but we also kept up with the CDC. We have the basics, the knowledge of how to protect ourselves. And we knew that we had to continue to help others and help our community. So a lot of us were spread out. We, when the operating room was closed, we were sent to other departments to help facilitate and to help relieve other nurses who had to work like in the ICU or the ER to help these patients that had COVID. And for me, at first, I was very fearful. I'm not going to lie. But my faith and my trust in the Lord kind of gave me that base of there, do not fear, you're good. And I brought that with me at work too. And I think there just came to a moment where I just, it was faith over fear. And I just continued on doing what I needed to do to be a part of the solution. And I know the media is going to say what they're going to say. We saw a lot of COVID patients in my own hospital, and the rates were high. But I think my hospital system responded very well to that, kept the employees safe and the patients. So I think to answer your question, it really was my faith that kept me grounded, and the support really of my family, my coworkers, all of that.
Thank you for your service and sticking with it and doing this influential work that people needed, that people appreciated. I want to talk about your journals that's dedicated to loss of a loved one you were talking about earlier. I lost my mom in 2020, and I'm still unable to write about her. It's really hard, and I'm a seasoned writer. But that particular subject is hard. What advice would you give to people who want to talk about a loved one that they lost and want to celebrate them, but it's hard to even start when you have so much to say?
Yeah. For me, my stepmom, I lost her before I could publish anything. And she was my cheerleader. She read my first drafts. She always was encouraging. We would always have the Wednesday calls. And she passed away with cancer, and I was devastated. I really was. It took me like a good year to just kind of begin to heal. But for me, writing was healing. And it might not, I think everybody's journey is different. Let me just say that. Yeah. And, work might give you 5 days to grieve, but we all grieve at different paces and different ways. But I think that for me personally, writing it out really helped me to heal. And so this journal came out from that. So while I was waiting for my children's book to be published, I also learned how to do the journals. And I really don't promote this, to be honest. I haven't really posted it anywhere. I normally get them to give to someone. So anytime someone loses someone in their lives, I end up gifting them this. And it's just a way for me to say, I don't know what else I could say to help you right now, but I know I've been where you are. And here is a resource to take you for, each day, to have you reflect on this person that you love so much and keep their memory alive. And so I think, so to answer your question, just short, every person grieves differently. And I think that writing is a way of healing. So
it certainly is. These amazing children books. I'm a mom, so I'm jumping for joy. Is there any more in production, or how can we be on the lookout, and how can people obtain the books that's already out?
Yes. So I have a couple that are really based just for moms. So this one is actually about my mom who passed, and both my moms. It's called My Mom, a Proverbs 31 Woman. And all the moms here are resemble someone in my life who is a Proverbs 31 woman. And so even some of my family members, when they pick up the book, they're like, oh, I know who this is. I think I know who that is. So that's really dedicated for moms. And then I have this one, I Promise to Always Hold Your Hand. And that one just is based on my girls, just remembering when I first learned that I was going to have them, how I always promised to hold their hand from every stage of their life. And so those are my mom books, I can say. But the new book that's coming out that I'm super excited about is coming out in the middle of October, right before I go speak at Georgia Council's annual conference, is Little Miss Goes to Surgery. So now kids can have a book to know what it's going to be like on their surgery day, so that they're not scared and fearful. So everything kind of comes together with this next book for me, my nursing career, my education, and just my love for children and making sure that they feel confident, safe, and courageous in moments like that. So
that's amazing.
And then they can find my books on Amazon, and also at that'slovepublishing.com.
Wow, you are just so wonderful.
Thank you.
Keep up the amazing work.
Now let's go back a little bit, because you're a nurse in the operating room,
Yes.
which is a very big position, a very wonderful position, but you're also, or you used to be, a teacher. How could you share with us how that happened, how the process went, which direction you went first?
Sure.
Can you explain their journey to us?
Oh, yes, I can. So I was 16 and I wanted to be a doctor, and I shadowed a pediatrician who showed me a book of all these diseases, and she said that I would have to work with a corpse, and I did not want to do that at 16. So I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going that route. I'm just going to go into education and teach. And so I did that for a while, and I enjoyed it. I really did. But then I went into the operating room with my cousin who had her son. And so I got to see a C-section. I was like, oh no, this is what I want to do. And so I went back to school and went to nursing school in University of Central Florida. And when I got into my clinicals, I had 2 days in the operating room. And so I saw a young girl have a craniotomy. And so that was amazing to me as well. And so I knew I wanted to end up in the operating room, ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, got a residency with the hospital system that I'm with. And that's really how that occurred. I just loved the medical field, went into that. And actually my education and my nursing have come together because I became a clinician, which helps to educate the staff. And now I'm a clinical development specialist. So I work with quality and education and help to orient the new staff. And I talk to residents and help with the processes and things like that. So I am still teaching and doing nursing at the same time. So yes.
That's a lot going on, especially emergency. I'm just saying emergency room. I tell you what, I saw, well, I didn't see a C-section. I saw a vaginal birth, and that was enough for me to say that's not what I want to do.
Oh no.
That and not have kids. I'm like, okay, I don't care. They gotta, if they have to come out that way. No, I'm gonna leave that alone. So yeah, you can't spit them up. So no, I'm like, nah, that's okay. So how do your girls feel about your books? Do they give you any critiques or criticisms about your books?
So my youngest, Ava, she loves to read my books. She's always she's my first critic, I can say, and my editor. So I'm always giving her my books and saying, hey, what do you think about this? And how does this illustration look? Do you think it looks good? And do you think kids would relate to this? So she's been the one that really has taken a liking to doing the whole process with me. My oldest, she is an artist, and I've tried to get her to illustrate for me, but she won't. But maybe one day she will. But I think they both are just like, oh, that's mom. She's doing her thing. She loves doing. I don't think they really realize all that comes along with it. I think they just see me doing it and say, oh, so mom, when's your next book coming out? Or it's like a, I don't know, a common thing is, but it's not. And I'm really proud to be able to do this. I didn't get to share this, but I'm a first language learner. When I was younger, I spoke Spanish. And so my first language is Spanish. And so it was real difficult for me in school. So I never, ever thought I would be a writer. Never, ever. So it's a huge accomplishment for me. And being Hispanic Heritage Month, I also think it's really important to have bilingual books. And so I've been working on that. Have one of my books in Spanish right now, and Little Miss and Little Man going to surgery will also be in Spanish. So
that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And you know me, I'm such a proponent for representation. I think representation really matters. And so I agree. I think having multilingual books or bilingual books are something great. I mean, because mine are in English, French, and Spanish. So
awesome.
I love what you are doing and transitioning to your native language, because if you go to, as an author, when you start going into the schools, and I don't know if you have, like, to a literacy night, not into a classroom, but where you're interacting with parents, you'll come to find out that as the Hispanic parents that walk, they just keep walking because all the books are in English.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so blessed that they stopped at my table because they thought they was going to walk by, and then they would look and they was like, oh, it's something I can identify with.
Right.
So representation has just as much to do with color of skin as as language.
Yes, it does. And French,
Yes.
wow, that's great. I wouldn't understand it.
Well, me either. I took French in high school and I can't speak it now. That's what translators are for. But I think when it comes to Black and brown culture, typically you'll find more English, French, and Spanish.
Yes.
In the language. So do you think you'll always publish multilingual books or duolingual books?
I think I will, just because of what you just stated. Literacy in the Hispanic community and in particular is low, and in order to increase that, you need to have books that kids can read. And so if we want to increase literacy, we need to increase the opportunity to read, and having good content, great characters with great plots, that those kids need that as well. And so I think I'm always going to end up publishing my books in both languages, at least for now. And then let's see in the future if it becomes, if it gets real popular, trying other languages in the future. So we'll see. It's been about a year and a half now. So since I started publishing, so I'm fairly new. I feel like I'm a baby at doing this. So we'll see what the future has to hold. And I'm so appreciative to have gotten to get to know you in Atlanta and having this opportunity, because this is my very first podcast. So thank you.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure it will not be your last.
Oh,
no.
And then, and the literacy, I want to go back to what you said about the literacy in your community. That is very important. If children or parents cannot read what is out there, they're not going to push for their children to read.
Right.
If they can't understand and find it interesting, like Pam said, they'll walk past the table. So it is important to have those different languages. And here in the States, we have a lot of languages, but Spanish is very big in this country. English, and we have so many different other cultures, but we definitely have Spanish, and I think especially children's books should have the dual language, because a lot of parents read to their children. They will read to their children if they're able to understand the language.
Or also, like, I know that every child has to take a language in high school, and a lot of times
it starts in middle school, right?
Or middle school now. Yeah. Actually, yeah, my daughter's taking Latin. She decided to take Latin instead of Spanish, so we'll see. They also need to read books. I think that you get to learn a language faster if you have books that
that's true,
they can relate to as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity for many authors out there to think about publishing in multi-languages. Yeah.
Or I would say, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Tam. I was just about to say, hold that thought. I was going to say, the one thing that I did learn when I decided I would learn Spanish, one of the things that I did, and I still do it now to refresh it, I just read kids' books.
See? Yeah.
I read children's books.
That makes sense.
And a lot of times, teachers don't have enough time to teach social studies or science, so they'll use literature during their reading time to teach those concepts. So they're using books, right, to teach about history lessons and science lessons. So that's an opportunity there as well. And then a lot of my books are health literacy, so they fall in that health literacy umbrella. And so they don't have a lot of time in the school system to teach those things. So they'll teach them through reading and through books. So,
yeah. Tammy, you had a question?
Yes, Erica, earlier you gave us a fun fact that Spanish was your first language. What other hidden fun facts about yourself you can share with us that people may not know?
Hidden facts. Oh, goodness. Well, I love playing sports. I love playing volleyball. So that might be a hidden fact. I don't know if there's anything else. I'm pretty open book. I'll have to think about that maybe just a little bit more.
Volleyball, though.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes. But of all sports, volleyball.
Yes, and I'm short, but I'm a setter, and both my girls play. Actually, my oldest was on a national team this past year. So hopefully she'll continue. Cool. I hope that they continue to love the sport, because then I can go watch it. But yes, so I think another hidden fact is that I'm just a creative. So I want to learn how to do the podcast thing. I want to learn it all, but you only have so much time in the day. And so yeah,
you can do that. It doesn't take much time.
It doesn't. Okay. And then actually, I guess another hidden fact is I'm working on a challenge right now. So I want to teach others how to write their own cookbook before the holidays. So I'm looking to release that free book challenge here soon, just to get people. I see a lot of people who have recipes that their grandmothers have made them over the years, and then that gets kind of lost if you don't write them down. So maybe just encouraging individuals to get to writing their own cookbooks. So that might be a hidden fact.
Nice. Thank you.
So do you like to cook then? I'm sure you must like to cook.
I like to cook, but usually I cook from a recipe book. I need a book in my hand. I might do some Pinterest things. So yes, I do. I love cooking. I like to be cooked for as well. But you know what I'm saying? But my cousins and my mom, they just I feel like they blow it out of the water, and my sister. So, and all that is, I asked them what did you do? What did you put in? Oh, I put a pinch of this and a little bit of that. And so I can't ever duplicate it. But I'm the recipe person. I go by the recipe book. So. Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So let me ask you this: if because children's books that have representation is so vital for our community, what would be 3 tips that you would give to someone who may be on the fence about writing a children's book?
Number 1, don't be fearful, and that if that you're going to make a mistake. There is so many communities that you can be a part of, so many people that will help you to be successful. So don't be fearful. Number 2, get started. Just get started. Write down your thoughts, write down your ideas. I promise to always hold your hand. I wrote this in 15 minutes. I was working out, had an idea, and I just started typing in my iPhone, just went at it. So just any idea you have, just go ahead and write it down. Give yourself maybe 15 minutes a day, or even 3 times a week, just to write those ideas down. So just get started. And the third tip is find yourself a really good publisher that's going to help you through the process, at least the first time. I think that my first time, the people that I chose, I didn't have such a great experience, but I learned from it. But if you have a publisher that's going to really support you, you can learn how to do this very easily and be successful and continue to publish in the future. So I think those are the 3 tips I would give. What tips would you give?
Oh,
Good question.
I was not ready for that. First of all, I was not ready. First, it's like 1:41 in the morning, and my brain cells are like, But you know what? I think honestly, some the tips you gave are great. I would also say that realize that when you decide to write children's books that represent who you are as a person, I don't care what color you are, understand the demographic that you're writing for and the change that it can make. I chose to write based off of my experience, and I always say I can only write for me. So my children are geared towards people and children that look like me. Because I didn't have those books when I was growing up. That's the first thing, is be intentional about the audience that you choose to serve. The second thing I would say is be prepared for the work, because writing it is one thing, but when it's time to illustrate, that's a whole nother thing. That I feel like it was easier to write than illustrate, or to write for my illustrator to take what I had written and what I envisioned and create it. So that's homework by itself. So I think be prepared for the work that's involved. And illustration, I will say, is one thing. Format, there's a lot of different things that come with writing books, period. But it's something about children's books that hit a little different. And I write for adult and children, so I know it just hits a little different. The last thing that I would say is just do it. Just do it, because there's so many people that ask me all the time, I want to write a book, but where do I start? And I always say, just write. Just start writing. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't care if you write it on a napkin. I don't care if you write it on your phone. Just write. If you're not comfortable writing, then, I use my phone. I'm like, I drive in my car and I get thoughts, and I'm like, oh, that would make a good chapter.
That's good. Yeah.
I would usually use the voice record, and I literally record everything, and then I transcribe it. I transcribe it. I might have to clean it up, but I'll transcribe it, and then I'll copy and paste that into a document. There's so many times there's so many times that I've already had 3 or 4 chapters just from verbalizing exactly how I feel. They might not be in sequential order. It's there though. So that's what I would say.
That's good. Those are good tips.
And even children's books, like you cranked out that children's book in 15 minutes. Sometimes it can take people a lifetime. Tammy, you had a question?
Does. Yes, Erica, with everything you do, and even over the course of your career, what do you think is your ultimate purpose, and what impact do you want to make in the lives of your audience?
Okay. My ultimate purpose is really to fulfill the calling that I have on my life, that I feel that the Lord has led me to. And so I feel like that's my ultimate purpose. And in the midst of that, helping to spread light and to spread kindness and ideas through my own writing and helping others with their own writing. I think that's my ultimate purpose. And, nursing has a lot to do with compassion and helping others. So I get to do that daily with my nursing career. But with my writing, that's a whole nother area that I can work and touch individuals, and not just in my community, but I could even touch all over the world. And so I think that's my ultimate purpose, really, is to continue to share love and compassion.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, we thank you for coming by. I'm so excited for you and the future of your writing. And I hope I'll be seeing you soon in 2023 at some point.
Yes.
But as you have your books come out, definitely make sure you come back on so that we can celebrate you and promote you on our platform. So let everybody know once again where they can follow you, where they can connect with you, where they can purchase your books.
Okay. You can follow me at That's Love Publishing, and that's my Instagram, my Facebook, as well as www.thatslovepublishing.com. You can purchase my books on that website as well as on Amazon. And I have Little Miss Goes to Surgery coming out later in October. So please keep your eyes out for that. I would love your support. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Well, congratulations again on all of your books, because that's quite a bit, and your journals. And I love that you're making a journal for those people who absolutely need it and to get in touch with who they are, because journaling is so important I always say it's great therapy for mental health, to just get those things that's off your chest and out your mind and out of your way. And then I think sometimes you can always see your growth when you go back and see what you've written and how far you've come. So thank you so much for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you again to celebrate you.
Thank you. It was so nice meeting you, Tammy. Thank you
nice
so
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, she was so amazing. Absolutely.
Yes, it was great.
Oh my God.
I know. Oh my goodness gracious. So just, when it comes to just motivation, and one thing I love about what she's doing is it's always going to be relevant. Hand washing, always going to be relevant.
That's been forever.
But the only thing that I was like, you have to tell kids to wash their hands when you have to tell adults to.
Yep.
There's something bigger wrong with that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because, we see it all the time. I've been in the restroom and I'm washing my hands and people just come out the stall and just walk right out.
Like life a joke or something. But what I love the most is her book about the kid getting surgery. I've never heard of a book like that. And that is so impactful. Just wow.
Oh, yeah. And even though people think that, why would somebody write a book about that for children? Because children, that might scare them. I truly believe that that's going to make a difference to help children understand that, I'm having surgery. And so it's going to be great for those doctors' offices to be able to explain and help children understand what going through the process of surgery will be like. So I don't think that, while I think it's really great for families, I really think it's going to be instrumental in medical facilities. Absolutely. To help children connect with and understand the purpose of surgery, why they're going through surgery, the things that it's going to help, but it's also going to let them see that it's kind of safe, if that makes sense. I mean, no surgery is safe, but
I understand what you mean, though. It gives them a calmness. Yeah.
It gives them a calmness because they can see themselves. And remember, representation is about children being able to see themselves.
Like, look, mommy, daddy, look, they're having surgery too. And, so that will bring up the conversation. Yeah, I agree.
Can relate.
Absolutely. So let me run up here to my friend here. What do you know? I'm talking to you, Tammy. Unmute. So what do you, because you do so much. Because people have no idea, when I needed a guest co-host, I was like, immediately, I was like, hey, are you free? Because I could be unstable appearance in Botswana. She was like, okay. So I want to also take the time to plug you because you are a remarkable, like absolutely remarkable woman. And I know you said everything that you've done and do, but I think that's just like so surface. So I also want people to understand why you become who you are and all things that you do because actress.
Absolutely.
You've been in some plays and then journalist. So there has to be like, okay, where's this makeup of who you are come from?
Earlier, I asked Erica what was her purpose. My purpose is to be a storyteller and to make an impact in people's lives from being a storyteller. If I was acting, writing, directing, being someone's publicist, as a journalist, I'm constantly telling stories. And it's a purpose. If it's to promote someone's business, someone who's up and coming, who don't have the resources or the support to get their voices heard. If I was directing or writing a video on bullying or racism, HIV, AIDS, suicide prevention, domestic violence. Everything I ever did in my career was for a purpose, to make an impact in someone else's life. So I truly feel I was divinely put on earth to make an impact from being a storyteller in different ways.
Oh, wow.
I do what I do.
And so where did the acting come from? Where did the acting bug?
Wow.
It was really ironic. My mom's favorite actress was Tamara Dobson, and she ended up naming me Tamara after her favorite actress, not knowing that I would eventually be put on a horror film, just love TV shows, love movies, and say, Mommy, I want to be an actress. She's like, okay, you really want to be an actress? I'm going to take you somewhere to audition. So it's a company that was here in Syracuse, New York, called the Media Unit. I auditioned at 12 years old. I was in the company for 8 years. We're doing 60 live stage shows a year, traveling, doing performances, on top of producing a weekly television show out of our public access TV station. That company ended up getting me a college scholarship to go to college, to study theater and media. So it was just my mom saying, okay, you want to do this? Go see if you can do this. Wow, you can really do this. Wow. Like, wow. And who'd have known? And she named me after her favorite actress. So I guess it just was divine intervention, something I really love to do. And acting was my first love. And a lot of people don't know that because they've met me during the pandemic and see that I'm into media. But yes, I was in an acting company for 8 years.
Awesome. Super awesome. So where can everybody connect with you, find you? I mean, tap in. First of all, y'all, you looking for if you're looking for a dynamic media person to write some media articles on you, that's your girl. So shout yourself out. Let them know where they can find you, connect with you.
Yes. Timmy Reese Media on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the main 4. Timmy Reese Media. You can find me. I'm so here to help you promote your products, businesses, talents, get you some media features, because I understand the importance of attaining press. It's very important to gain more visibility and credibility and just keep yourself out there and relevant. So hit me up. I got you.
All right. And Louisa, where can people connect with you at?
Let me just say, okay, Tammy. You can find me at the Blue Phoenix Hills everywhere. Also, this conversation was really flat for me because I've been sitting on 2 children's books for a couple of years. And yeah, don't make that face at me, Tom. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Yeah, I have 2 children's books that I had started. I had the idea. I know what I want to write. I hadn't written it down, but I started writing it and I have not put it out. So I will finish writing it and get it out there. Yeah, I was like,
I look forward to it.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I know
you will. I know you will, which is why I said it, because I need to do it.
I am going to be your accountability partner in getting those children's books out in 2023, or unless you want to release them this year, I'll gladly shove you out the door that way too.
Oh.
Yes. Speaking of accountability, you and I, Dr. Pam, got to talk offline because I need you to be my accountability coach. I'm going to talk to you.
Oh, you know what? But I'm always your accountability. I'm always
you always a phone call text away. I
know. And people, I tell people all the time, I'm like, don't call me unless you're absolutely ready to hear the truth.
Right.
That's what I'm going to deliver to you.
Scorpio vibes.
Right.
No, for real.
Yeah, so you can find me at right here. I AMDRPGURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley. If you want to be on the podcast, you know what? And I need to also check and make sure, because one of the things that I know we're filling up. So you can hit DAW entertainment.com/podcast, and I'm going to see who's next for next week, who's on here. It's so weird. Like my phone is like really jacked up. Oh. Next week we don't have a guest.
Oh, wow.
Because I blocked it. I blocked next week's September 29th because we are going to be celebrating the, our co-host in her finishing her dissertation.
Yes.
And making the mark to cross over to be Dr. Cortina Peters.
Dr. Peters. Well, Peters for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? And she over here, like, I'm going to bring her on here. I'm going to make her live because I'm going to do this because so she's here. Yes. Yeah. So she's here, but she's not here because the internet's unstable and I had to keep it stable. So she's been here. But next week, we're going to celebrate you and finishing what has been long awaited just before your wedding. Yes. Cortina, Tammy Cortina. But yeah, so, and when the big day, I'm frozen. I think I'm frozen.
No, you are, but we can hear you.
I am. You can hear me?
Congratulations. This is just
Thank you.
News. Oh my God.
Thank you. It's tomorrow. So
tomorrow?
Yes, the actual dissertation is tomorrow. So that's what you've seen me in the background, but I've been working.
Yeah, she's been doing work. She's been double timing.
Work. Wow. I'm sure it was a fun, long process. How was it for you?
I'm glad it's here.
Glad it's here.
Right.
You can.
I'm glad it's here.
Oh, Pam, she's going. Oh, speaking of which, I keep forgetting. I forgot. Okay, so yesterday I took my final exam for level 2 of the transformative life coaching, and I 100% passed that test.
Yeah.
Oh
my teacher, he just sent the score today, and I was shaking in my boots, even though I knew. And it was 2 oral exams and then the test, so I passed all 3. I was like, woo.
All this amazing news. This is
we sending all the goodness to you, Cortina. You're gonna do awesome.
Yes, I'm actually trying to figure out where you all are. I put in the chat the actual product for Sex Unveiled if you want to see it or anything.
Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm supposed to be talking about it. I'm gonna talk about it tonight.
Yes.
So I think this is how you do this. I have no idea.
I know Dr. Pam was trying to come back in, but it's definitely an honor to be here with you beautiful, amazing women. It's so great to continue to share stories of excellence and pushing through and accomplishments with people that look like us. I'm just so proud of everyone and just honored to be here with y'all. This just was such a fun show today. It really, really was.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes. I think we have Dr. Pam back.
No, I can't. At least I can't. Oh, you'll hear me. You just can't see me.
We can hear you.
We hear you. We can't see you.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. See, I was just saying, I love you all. Thank you. My internet went out, but I mean, I guess I'm here, but I'm not here. But really quick, so next week we're going to be celebrating you, and I'm grateful for you ladies. I will be back home next week because I leave Friday. I get home Saturday. Tammy, I thank you so much for stepping in, and and it's for this reason that you can't even see me at this point, but it lasted as long as it could, and I'm really grateful for all of you ladies because this is again season 5. If you want to be on the show, definitely hit us up. we're slowly making changes for season 6, and we can't wait to release those things in November. But is there anything anybody wants to say? Nope. Nobody have any last thing?
Nope.
Okay, because you can't see me anyway.
Thank you to our viewers and our supporters, and we really appreciate you all. And thank you for coming with us every week and sticking with us even through our break. We just really, really, really thank you guys.
Definitely. So with that, you know what we say, ladies. Cheers and toast up. Cheers.